Hello and welcome to the Literary
Hey.
Labyrinth podcast. Hi,
Hi.
welcome.
Hey.
Hi. If you're new here, my name is Leela. I'm a nerd for books and I like anything with escapism that takes me away from reality.
My name is Linda. I love kind of all sorts of books. I'm new to fantasy and I mostly read contemporary.
Yes, and we are two sisters, one who reads fast.
I'm one that reads slow.
If you're not new, thanks for coming back and joining us on our journey through The Rites of Starling by Devney Perry. So we started this book last week and we read chapters 1 to 9, but we are continuing our journey. We're reading which chapters this week, Linda?
So we're reading chapters 10 to 19 this week. Is it 10 to 19?
Right.
Yes, it is, isn't it? Yes,
It
10
is. We got our chapters a little bit confused last week. We were like, what? So 20, but it's actually chapters 10 to 19, including 19. And then we'll read beyond that afterwards from 20. So,
Yeah.
so what happened? What happened?
It's kind of like the start. So it's really a lot of story building, isn't it, at the moment? And we've got two characters here. So we've got Odessa's point of view, and we've got somebody called Caspia's point of view, which is she's Starling, so sort of similar. She's got the same hair colorings as like Odessa, but she's from a different continent. So that's as much as we've learned. And she's left her home with her cousin to travel by boat. So she's like trying to find land at the moment, and she's following the rites, or like this feeling she has.
Rites, yeah, she's drawn, and it's the thrum of it. But it ended with the last line as the pirates on the ship that she was on started to go, land, we can see it. So they're obviously approaching land. We don't know where.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll find out where she's landed. I'm guessing Calandra, but we don't know where in Calandra, or maybe if it even Calandra. Let's just find out.
Yeah. So with chapter 10, we get back to Brother Skore, who is one of the other Fosters.
Yeah, this guy. So yeah, so we're back to like Odessa's point of view, and she's like following this, I'm gonna say monk. It just feels to me like he's a monk.
Yeah, he's kind of sat there like monk-like style. She's like, is he sleeping? He sat with like crossed legs, his hands sort of, palms up to the sky, maybe meditating or something. Who knows? Maybe they don't even sleep.
Yeah, so she's still traveling with him, and she's just like listening, like he's protecting her or taking her somewhere. I don't even know if he's protecting her. Like,
well, it sounds like he's kind of just using her. I don't know.
Yeah, and we find out that they're going to the Orson Canyon, which is in Ozarth. So that's where they are. But yeah, that's
so they're still in Chura, right? But they're crossing that bit that connects to Ozarth.
Yeah, Ozarth. So like she says that, but this is the first time she's been traveling with like Brother Dime and Brother Skore for ages and ages. And it's the first time he's actually said, she's like, where are we going? And he's like, we're going to Ozarth, the Orson Canyon. And we're like, okay, why? We don't know. We're not getting any answers. I'm just like, why, Odessa? Come on, like this is it.
I know. I'm finding this a little bit frustrating, I'm not gonna lie. And I get it. We have to go on the journey, but I am like, come on, man. Anyway, so she is with Faye's little pet Tarkin, and Evie is there, and they are on this journey. He does mention about this whole thing. So she always prays to the six and says Oda, and he's like, the divine, and she's like, oh, who do you pray to? And he responds, the divine, and she's like, oh, you mean Oda? Like, they were some who considered the father the greatest of all gods, though I prefer to speak to Amma, the mother. And he's like, no, the divine. And she's like, is that a god? And he's like, there's only one god, girl. And I'm like, wow, way to shit on someone's religion. God.
like, what is going on? Like, it sounds like he's just like, I'm just putting up with you at the moment, whatever. Like, he doesn't want to be there. And like,
But it sounds like Odessa's kinda is a bit religious because she's like, "A chill raked down my spine, and I fought the urge to sign the 8." And
yeah,
I'm like, is she quite, because she's always like, "Oh, I pray to Amma that we can do this, or I sign the 8 because I wanna make sure we get through this journey." So she's always kind of been that person. So I
mm,
wonder how that's gonna look if someone says, "By the way, you know that whole thing about the 6 and the 8? It's all bullshit, and
yeah,
there's only the divine." Like, I just don't know how that's gonna be handled, but hey,
yeah.
so
So yeah,
he's
they're traveling to the canyon, like in Ozarth, and so she says it's creepy as hell. And then, but she goes, from the moment we entered the canyon, the stinging had stopped. So it's a weird thing that like Brother Scorn can turn it off. Like Brother Dine,
yeah.
but Brother Scorn can turn it off, and she like didn't know that, and so she's kind of like thinking, "Oh God, how can he do that? Like, what's going on?" But she doesn't get any answers, does she?
No,
No.
no, and he's really sarcastic as well, like, most of the time. Well, no, I don't wanna say sarcastic because he doesn't have sarcasm, but he's just, it's like the whole thing of what you said about where are we
Yeah.
going, and he's nobody's talking or nobody's saying anything, and he's like, "The sting of his magic hit me the same time as a gust of wind. I grimaced, rubbing at my arms. You could have just answered my question." And he says, "I did." He didn't answer shit. I don't understand
No,
this.
he didn't. It doesn't answer anything. But anyway, she goes and she has that. She reads a bit of that journal, and it's about a guy, like that has.
Yes.
She's just saying that she gets this story about this guy who has 3 like slashes over his face, and it
Mm.
looks like he's been attacked by like an animal. It calls an alligast, but it's actually like an alligator, and he's
An
managed
alligator,
to
yeah.
take its hind and stuff. And when he wears the hind, they leave him alone.
Yeah, because he sewed the hind, and it seems to be like it disguises him, so they don't attack him. So that becomes a significant point that we read on
We'll
to
come
find
to.
out later.
But yeah, he takes her to this. So they're still walking in the canyon, and he takes her to this cave. And she says she doesn't feel well because she has to go through this water, and it stings. It feels like cutting ice.
Yeah, it's like a river or waterfall type thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and he says to her, "There's something in this cave I need to retrieve." And she says, "Okay, let me know when you're done." And he's like, "No, I need your help." Like she should have
Uh-huh. So
this,
now we get to it. We get to it now. That's why he wanted her. That is exactly why he's using her.
but she should have been like, "No, like you answer my questions, and then I'll help you." Like she
That's
just
what
feels like she's got no bargaining power here. Like, what are you doing, Odessa? Okay.
No, she sort of just goes, the excuse we kind of find is like, don't hurt Evie or FaZe. So if you promise to let them go and live and be safe, then I will help you. But yeah, because she's like, great, we'll be here when you're done. You're coming with me because I can't find it.
Yeah,
And why didn't you tell me this before? And he's like, I'm telling you now. Get
yeah.
stuffed.
And she's like, "No, I'm going to bring Evie." And he's like, "It's no place for a child." And she said, "Then you should have thought about that before bringing us here." And then he goes, "Please." And then she's like, "Oh, okay. Will she be safe here?" What?
I,
No, like, no, Odessa.
I know, and even Evie's like, I don't think you should go in there with him. I don't think you should do this. She's like saying to her, no. And she's like, you can be brave with FaZe. Like, make sure you don't wander off. And she's like, no. And fair enough. Like, but she's like, we'll be right back. She doesn't bloody know that.
No, no, she doesn't. It just seems a bit like weird. Like, why would you do this? Like, she
Yeah,
does have a
because
choice. She could have like stopped a bit more and fought it,
yeah,
but he just went, "Please," and she's like, "Okay." So she leaves FaZe and
yeah. She's
Evie,
like,
and
manners, lovely. So yeah, but he's like, no harm will come to the girl. Doesn't mean it won't come to you. Just
yeah,
saying.
yeah. So yeah, so she goes, she follows this guy, and he says to her like, "Follow
Mm.
the pain," and you're like, well, "This isn't going to start good, is it?" Like, follow the pain. You can feel the magic in this tunnel. Follow it. And I was like, follow the pain. Right. So this isn't going to start well. What do you need in this place? Doesn't tell her. What are you looking for? Follow the pain.
Yeah, and it's insane because he's just like, the longer you fight me, the longer that girl is alone. And he's like, oh, you're a manipulative bastard. I'm like, of course he is. I think we've established this.
Yeah, if longer that she feels alone, go back now. You did that.
Yeah, anyway, so he's like, okay. She goes down one track, one tunnel, nothing. She comes back, she goes down another one. She's like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
this way. And that proceeds to be like again and again and again, and goes on for a little bit. It feels like she's going down system. So
Uh-huh.
she gets to a sort of dead end.
Yeah.
And there's like a pool of water on the on inside one of these tunnel cave things. And she's like, here we are. This is where it's taken me. And he's like, there's nothing here. You've gone the wrong way. And she's like, I did not. I went the absolutely right way. You
Yeah.
can shove it. And then all of a sudden how exactly does she go in the water?
See, so I think she accidentally, she's like, what is it? She reaches for the water and skimmed her fingertips over it. And then she just starts screaming because it's so painful. And then Brother Skore
That's
goes,
right.
what did you touch? And she's like, let me go. And he said, well done, girl. And then he just touches her hand, and then she goes like passes out. And you're like, what was it she found? What does he want?
So
Why
there's
is he
something
doing it?
in the water that is something super, super magical that the
Like
Voster
painful
have.
to her. Yeah.
And I'm just like, hold on a second. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I trust this dude. I don't trust
No,
him.
I don't. Like he's awful. Like he could have
They're
like
all awful. They're all awful. The Voster are like, this is your destiny. The path is for you to go alone. I can't tell you the answers. I've give you enough of the answers. This is the question. There are no more questions for you.
yeah,
It's
you're
like,
just like
bitch, I will say what I say when I say it. Stop.
exactly. Like what's going on? Like why are you like this? Why are you listening to them? Just like
Yeah,
no, bye.
why? Why
Goodbye.
are you like this?
Why are you like this? So yeah, we leave after Odessa passes out. We go back to Caspia's story.
And I
So
have to say, just as a point of going through these chapters that we're discussing, I really appreciate the Caspia's pits because I get annoyed with Odessa right now because of this behavior. So when we get to Caspia, I'm like, okay, someone with rationale. Here, let's do this.
it's like, God, right, okay. So yeah, she's landed on the land, wherever it is, and she's out there with her cousin, and they've said goodbye to the pirates who are heading back.
Oh
And
yeah, Xandra says goodbye to Cap, the captain of the
yeah,
Serena. Because they've obviously like fell in love and stuff and whatever. So, but she's like, I must go alone. I vow to you, we shall find each other and across the ocean or something. So you're like, oh, it's very pretty. Okay, beautiful. So Xandra and Caspia head into basically a giant forest, which is not
yeah,
enough for us to understand. Where is she? Is she in Quintus? Is she in Chura? Is she? No idea.
no, there's nobody there either. They're just like walking. But they say that when they land, that the thumbing that there was like guiding them which way to go just stops. So they're on the land, and now it just stops.
Yeah, which is weird. Does it mean they've arrived at their destination? I don't
Yeah, it's a bit weird. So she said, like, I have never read about a continent other than Azores and Elam. So they don't even know that this exists. Like, this seems to be the furthest. Even the pirates didn't know that this land existed. So they're like, what? Nobody knows. How
Yeah,
gone?
so this is Calandra that we understand as the whole book is based on.
Yeah,
These guys are from Ken, Kenn. So
yeah,
that's the area that this is the area they're from, Ken. But obviously, so they've never heard of Calandra, and that's just weird to me. But okay, anyway, here we are.
yeah. So
So yeah, so continue on.
when they go on that like this place, like they start feeling really sick as well. So they start getting dizzy. They don't feeling like nauseous and like they're like eyesight is blurring, like really green, and they think we need to shift into beast because that's part of the ritus, isn't it? That once you shift into a beast, that's it. And it's agony, but like then you can shift going forward. And so they're
Well,
like,
the other thing they do mention is they're not supposed to go where the Crux migrate. That's something they say. They say we're
yeah,
hopefully we're not in the place where the Crux migrate. But then it is said here when they get there, Cassandra, she's like, because obviously she says about I've never heard of about a continent other than Azon and Alien, and then she says this must be where the Swift migrate. If it is, Aunt Aliana is going to be livid when we get back. So there's like a you should not be where the Crux migrate.
yeah, but they don't
And
know why.
exactly. So we know there's a Crux migration in
Yeah,
Calandra, but why is that such a bad thing for them specifically?
exactly. So yeah, they go, they're still like this is kind of a bit like a they're walking, they sleep in a cave, they keep
But it's
walking,
all
like
through this period, they're trying to follow a stream, like see if it leads to like a town or a village or something. And they're just getting more sick,
yeah.
pain, migraine, want to vomit. They're just like, I hate this. I just want this to be done. And they're like, sucks. They're not having a good time.
No, and then it just kind of finishes, doesn't it? So we don't know. They're like sleeping in a cave. They just know
Correct.
the
Yeah.
Rites is going to begin somehow, and they're just walking.
Yeah. That's it, exactly. And then we go back to Odessa. So what happened? She blacked out, and the next thing you know, she is hearing, "Do the orange ones next," and it's Evie talking to Brother Skore. So
Oh,
she's
they're having a great.
slowly
They're having a
she's
great
having
time.
a freaking she's having a great time. She's like, "Oh, do this magic, do that, make my thing," and Brother Skore's got like a little puppet show of magic going on of some sort. And
Ah,
then she's like, "Ow, ow, I'm sore and I've got blinding pain shot through my neck, turning my vision white. I winced and rubbed at the ache." And then that's when Evie's like, "Oh my god, you're awake, you're okay." And she's like, "Oh my god, is she okay? Has Brother Scorn done something?"
yeah. And he
But
said, "How long have I been out for?" And he says, 2 days. 2 days she's been got.
right, I find that suspicious because what also, okay, all right, you guys might come for me, but like, why on earth is she just like, oh, I was out for 2 days, no follow up questions?
Yeah.
Ask the goddamn questions.
Oh,
Starting to
yeah.
really take
This is
me
where she
off.
goes, "What happened in the tunnel? What was wrong with that water?" And then he goes, "The way you phrase your questions always interests me." And she's like, "What happened? Rest a
This
while
guy,
longer."
this I want to slap him so
And
hard.
you're like, "No, like what the hell?" And then he goes, "Follow this stream. It will take you south to Norcast." And he's leaving. What
I
did he
I
do?
find it interesting the ways you phrase your questions. They're pretty blunt questions. The questions are cough up the knowledge and stop with the bullshit. That's what the questions are.
Yeah.
I'm getting infuriated just reliving it with you guys right now. You can tell. But the other thing that gets mentioned is so Evie is there. She's like, she handed the white flowers as she knelt on my blanket. She goes, "These are for you." And she's like, "Oh, thanks. They're very beautiful." And then where's Faze? And she goes, "Hmm." And then she goes like cups a hand around her mouth and let a cooing noise, like coo coo kind of noise, like a whistle of a bird song. And Faze comes right in, and she's like, "Where did you learn to do that?" And she's like, "Brother Skore taught me." What the has happened in 2
Yeah.
days
Yeah.
that you guys are tight now? Like, what is happening?
Yeah. So he's going off now because he can't delay too long. Why does he do that? I don't know why he's delayed. Is he off to see the high priestess or something again?
Uh-huh,
I don't know.
uh-huh, yeah, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Anyway, he's like, "Thank you, I got what I wanted, bye, bitches," and then just leaves.
Yeah. Oh no. And she
Right.
said, "What was in that tunnel? Liberty."
Okay, you wanna see some liberty? I'll show you some, and it's gonna be a middle finger to your face is what it's gonna be.
Oh, yeah. And he says, "Tell no one of the waterfall. Your father's life depends on your secrecy." So then threatens her. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, what does the waterfall have to do with my father? He pulled the rope so hard I had no choice but to let go so it didn't rub my palms raw. We stood close enough, his magic should have been uncomfortable at the very least. But other than that single moment, it was gone. And then she changes the freaking thing and says, "Why can't I feel your magic?" Again.
Yeah.
And he says, does he not? She says,
No, he doesn't say anything. He just
oh
raises
no,
a
he says nothing. He says nothing.
but
No, the only thing he leaves her with is
Mhm.
there is a warrior in Calandra, a warrior who will save this realm. Find her. Do you have a name? A contact sheet? Dick.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, "Okay." And then he goes, "I'm not your enemy." Seriously,
You're a
you
dick.
are.
You're a
Yeah,
dick. You're a full ass dick right now is what you are. He
yeah.
probably doesn't even have a dick. That's the other thing.
He
Dick.
said, "I ended your pain in that tunnel and brought you here. We are half a day's ride from the waterfall, and that's it." He's just like, "I'm letting you go like you asked." What?
So I'm wondering now if when she encounters another Voster, that if it touches her or comes near her, she won't be in a pain anymore. Because
Well,
of whatever was in the tunnel, because he said, "I ended your pain," right? Which I don't trust him anyway, but I'm just wondering if the next encounter
I
of
didn't
a
think of that.
Voster, is she going to then go, because she always says, "Why can't I feel your magic?" Because he knows how to switch it on and off, but maybe he wasn't switching it off, but she just thought he was. But
I
that's
mean,
because just because he says that one line, I'm wondering, okay, does that mean she's no longer in
yeah.
pain from the from magic itself? Maybe she had a sensitivity to magic. Now she's kind of gone through that pain. You know how we
Well,
talked about Caspia, you go through an
yeah.
intense amount of pain before you change. Is
Uh-huh.
that in relation to something she's got? Who knows? I
Me,
don't know.
yeah. But yeah, so he just says like, "Yeah, it's your destiny." When? After you fulfill yours. What? Like that's when they will meet again. It is my destiny. When? After you fulfill yours. So they will meet again. And you're just like, what the hell? But then he just leaves, "Stay away from the high priest. You cannot trust him."
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Well,
Very
I can't trust you.
Brotherhood knew your mother before she died. What?
See, all this shit, he's like giving her riddles, and that's what really ticks me off about it. And it's like, oh, I can't give you all the answers. Anyway, he buggers off with those little questions that you've
Yeah.
just said. Sorry, no, one-liners that he's just left Odessa with. And she's like, okay, we've apparently got to follow the stream. I want to get you home to Quentis so that you're safe. And we need to go south. And she gets Evie and FaZe and her back on the horse, and she goes, "Which way's south, Odessa?" And she goes, "Don't know." Ha 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 ha. And you're just like, wow, this is already a disaster.
Yeah. And she was it. But like Evie does say something. She goes, "What's happened?" And she goes, "Look, when you weren't looking, he he took something. But he did take something out of his bag and sneak away to the trees last night. He thought I was asleep." And she said, "What was it?" "It was something round and shiny, the size of a melon." Thank God Evie is there because she's the only bloody person.
I swear to God, thank God for Evie, because she wouldn't have found those secret hiding places from the previous book. She wouldn't know about this thing from Brother Skore.
Yeah,
This girl is like, how old?
four. And she's not a no, no. I think she's six. Like a
She's
4-year-old
too
wouldn't be able to
young
do
to
this.
be a
6-year-old, yes.
4-year-old.
Not
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. So we
yeah.
get into
So they're
chapter
off.
13. But yeah, we at least have that tidbit of information about what is the thing that Brother Skore has. So chapter 13 goes back to Caspia. They're still not having a good time. They're all in pain. Ankles, ow,
Oh yeah,
everything.
she goes over her
Head
ankle.
spinning.
She's ill. She wraps around her arm around her middle, and she's just like curling her side. And
It's
like so, they're
basically like
both in
bad
pain.
ass fever diarrhea max, but without the disgustment of diarrhea. But like the pain is not good.
Yeah, and they think that's because this is part of the ritus. Like you're supposed to feel pain, and then like you can turn into animals. Like they're like, this must be it. Like we're supposed to feel like this.
Yeah, because the one thing she says as well, Caspia, she says, "It hurts. My insides were being shredded by invisible claws. My head was throbbing. Every pulse of my heart was hammering, cracking against my skull." So we were feeling like, oh, she's transforming into a crux. Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
But they're all just like, "I don't know, I don't understand." So,
Yeah.
anyway.
But Xandra wakes up, like, they sleep, and then Xandra wakes up, and Caspia looks at her, and there's something wrong with her eyes. Like, she doesn't have the
Oh,
cold hue in her eyes.
yeah.
Her eyes are like milky white, and
Mm.
it's just a bit like, oh God, like she's really
And
sick. I've done this to
that's a
her. There's something
pretty
going on.
that's a pretty big color difference. I'm sorry, but if you turned and fair enough, I know about the color, but you were like, "Morning," and your eyes are just, like, all milky, I'd be like, "What the what's
What's
happened?"
going on? Like, yeah, there's something. They think they're gonna die there. Yeah. So
Yeah, they're confused. They think, "Okay, we've arrived in the Crux migration. We're about to die. We're not supposed to be here. This is terrible." However, then we hear a click click noise. And we all know what the click click noise is,
oh
right?
yeah,
Because we know it's the big scary Barry wolves that everyone's freaked out. So I'm thinking, "Shit, are we in Shura? Is the one-eyed Barry wolf, like, come to get her
definitely.
now?" Because, like, Odessa, they're drawn to these kind of people.
Yeah,
That doesn't seem to be the case in terms of the one-eyed Barry wolf, but it is indeed Barry wolves.
yeah. So they're like, you gotta run. Like, we've got to get out of here. So they're like running,
But
and
they've
like,
never seen these before. See, they're
yeah,
familiar with all of the kind of monstery type animals or something, but they're
we don't
like, "I
know.
have never
Never.
seen these." They're like, the creature was similar to jackals that roamed the
Yeah,
Nelphinex wild with a long snout and pointed ear, though this animal was twice as large, nearly the size of a horse, and its fur stopped past its ribs, giving way to scales that rippled as it prowled our way. And each of those scales ended with a pointed quill. So we know they're barrowolves, but they're like, they look similar to these ones that we know, but they're not. So
and they're supposed to be
they're a
like,
little
in their country, all they have like beasts, like, and the humans are like, oh, friends. But here, like, no, they're
Mm.
monsters.
Yeah,
So
they're like growling at them. They're about to like attack and eat them essentially. They've got the fangs out and they're like shit.
yeah, and so they've been cornered now. Like, they've kind of ran for it and then been cornered, and Sandra kind of goes up to them, doesn't she, with her hands like out, and you're just like, and she's like, Caspia's like, no, don't, what are you friggin' doing? And
Well,
she's just
I'm
like,
wondering
they're
if she's trying
beautiful.
to think we are we are one. We're you know how they were with the marrow eels when they were traveling. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, she's trying to do that shit, but she not in Ken. She in Calandra now.
No,
That's not
no,
gonna
she's in
happen.
something else. But yeah, so
But
she's putting her
something
hands
else
out, going,
happens.
like, I'm just gonna leave it out there. I'm gonna, but no, she kind of puts her hands out, and yeah, it sort of, she says, oh no, we're gonna run. She's like, we'll never survive. And then she goes, no, and she just screams and through her throat, and it turns into like an animal throat, and she does a whole shift right there.
Yeah, and she tells her to run, and she's like, "What, Sandra?" And she's like, "Go now," because she's like, "Okay, it's hitting me. Please run." And she's like, "Go, Caspia." The gold vanished in a blink, and the feral snarl she unleashed made me stagger backwards. So this girl be turned into a Barry Wolf right in front of her
Yeah,
eyes.
she's chosen the berry wolf to turn into. So yeah, she's like, so she's starting to run, and then another beast tries to come for her, but then Xandra in wolf form like bats that like Barry Wolf away, and is like the larger of them all, and so
Oh
she's
yeah,
just
she's
there
now the
going,
leader.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's the leader now of this massive Barry Wolf. But then it looks like she turns on her, and she's like looking at it, and she's like growling, and she's trying to say, oh, my cousin, and she's just like, it's me, but yeah, she can't, she's
Yeah.
not, it doesn't look like she recognizes her anymore now that she's like changed. Yeah.
No, but they did say that when Emery went through the thing, they were saying that it's so severe and intense that you might not even know who you are anymore. So she's in full Barry Wolf mode, so she's probably not even gonna figure that out for a wee while until
Yeah.
she gets stabilized. But having said that, that's Ken. Does that same shit happen in Calandra? Because if she was to change into a jackal in Ken, then perhaps she would be able to go and shift back. I'm fine. But she's not in Ken because seriously something happened to Emery. So I don't know. Anyway, she
Yeah.
runs. She knows she's gonna get killed if she doesn't. She's trying to say Xandra, Xandra, but no. And then the next thing you know, it's like a classic Lord of the Rings moment with Aragorn. She whoosh off a cliff edge into the water below. That's her only
Yeah.
escape. But she does say
Hmm.
I was gone jumping over the cliff edge, flying for the first time in my life, flying for only a moment until I fell. And I'm like, was she actually flying a little bit? Or was that
Yeah.
just her falling?
Did
Because
she
she says I was
turn? What did she
flying.
do?
Yeah, like maybe she wasn't quite ready. And then it was like, I don't know. It's unclear.
Yeah. So that's how it ends and stuff. So it just
Because
ends
we're
like
all
that.
like, what the beep just
What the hell has
happened?
happened? And then we got back to Odessa, and it's sort of like so slow with Odessa.
Mm.
She's just like on the way to Norcross or wherever it is, and it's
Well,
just
they're sort of like
traveling,
sleeping
traveling.
like homeless people at this point.
Yeah, they
And
no
then
one.
someone kicks them, a woman, saying, like, "You're not supposed to sleep here because if you do, you'll get, like, the Norcresters don't take too kindly to outsiders sleeping in their garden." She's clearly sleeping in someone's garden here.
Mm. Well, she's
So
got
you know
no food, no water, no clothes. They're just like, yeah, Brother Score's been a dick. Like he's just left them
yeah.
there, like whatever. Like
But if you look on the map of the beginning of the book, so between Chura and Ozarth, they've now said Norcrest. So there's like a sliver of a river called Harrow River within Ozarth. And on the top side, the north side, is a place and it says Norcrest. So we now know she is definitely in Ozarth.
yeah,
So she now needs to get, I assume, from the north to the south in order to get a boat across to Quintus to get
jeez,
home. So she's still got a long ass way to go.
yeah, that's a long way. But yeah, so she's been walked away. Like this is kind of like the whole like journey at the start of the first one. Like I'm just like, come on, get to the location. But yeah, she's been
Yeah,
moved
you wanna steal
on.
some vegetables? That's one thing, and then you're like, "Okay, clearly she's trying to
Yeah,
steal some stuff, blah,
nobody
blah, blah."
has any help there, so this isn't quite a nice place.
No, everyone sort of looks down at you here. They're just like, "What you want? Huh, whatever."
But there is a man that they kind of walk with. I think his name is Wells, and so they kind of like get friendly with him.
Can
And
I just say that kinda came out of nowhere in this book. Now, I'm
yeah,
all for I mean, considering the size of this book, and don't get me wrong, it doesn't have to be much like, many sentences, but it was, like, suddenly, like, there was a guy called Wells, and then we started traveling with him, and he's like, "Ho, ho, ho, let's travel down here." I'm sorry, what? But
where you going? What's happening?
perhaps.
Yeah, it's sort of like, but and he's only there for like a bit because they have a little ferry across the river, and they hear is it like a bell? Yeah, a bell rang out, and he's like, "That's the last ferry of the day." So they're like, "That's the only way to get across the river if you want to get to the other side." So
And
they
that's the
go with
Harrow
Wells.
River. Yeah,
Yeah, so they go with Wells to the river, but then the river was it the riverman is a bit
ferryman.
mean to him because you need obviously money to cross the river, and they've got nothing,
No,
and
and
so
also he's obviously taken them on this, like, journey as well, alone, because he's like, "Keep that sword, keep that girl alive, it's payment enough." And I'm like, "Why is this guy so nice when everyone's a dick?"
yeah,
And you're
why are
like,
you
"Okay,
paying for them? Why are
he's
you
a
paying
nice
them for the
guy.
journey?
He doesn't have any underlying other reasons." But yeah, you're right. The ferryman's
Mm,
like, "No, you need to pay. I don't care." And so he has to pay an extra 2 coins or something. So it's
yeah,
her, Evie, the and him. So yeah.
yeah, that's a bit weird. And then they get to the other side, and he says like to her, "Don't stay in the camps. When we get there, whatever way the ferryman walks, you go the opposite. Understood?" And you're like, right. So this again is a shady place.
Yeah, because basically there's a point where I think the ferryman and other people are, like, looking at her a bit like, "Oh, yeah, that's a nice piece of ass," essentially, like, "So
Yeah,
you could get raped here," and she's like, "Got it, okay, I've gotta be careful now," and I'm like, "Jesus. Thanks, Brother Skore, thanks."
yeah, thanks for landing in that. Like, I would have probably gone back to like Spura and went, I'll deal with the crux migration there.
Yeah. Anyway, they say,
So,
so they go on, but they meet someone that she goes to
well, Will
she
says you should go to, like, if you want somewhere to stay, don't stay in the camp. There's a little cabin house here, like a wooden cabin, and there was children playing outside. And he says, go there, like, say that you know me. And that's what they do. They just go, have you got a place to stay? And the woman at the cabin just doesn't give a crap. She's like, yeah, yeah, whatever. You can sleep in the lean to the off side of the house. And
it's
she's like, thank
basically
you.
like a hay shed. That's what it is.
Yeah, and she's like, I don't have any coins, and she just like waves a dismissive hand and goes, yeah, yeah. Water pumps that back, wash up for dinner, and she's like, oh, okay.
Well, I think she looks at Evie, doesn't she? And Evie's got the starburst of Ozarth in her eye, and I think that might have, like, kind of just gone, "Oh, there's a young girl. Yeah, alright, fine." But she does it like, "Don't accept I'm not gonna be all sweet, but, I'll help you out," basically.
This stuff, go, okay. So yeah,
And
it
she
was
gives
just
them dinner. She gives them dinner as well. She gives them
yeah,
food.
gives them dinner, a bath, and like then they just clean up and they're like, oh, okay, and a place to sleep. Great.
But she does ask, is there a boat that goes straight to Scanshon? And on the map, Scanshon is the south point of Ozarth, which is where you'd
Yeah.
want to connect a ship to Quintus.
Hold on.
And at that point, she's like, "Yeah, but they're not cheap, and there's too many on this river who'd let you keep that sword to take payment in other ways, if you know what I mean." And you're like, again, confirmation, danger,
Yeah.
shade. But anyway, she's fed and watered by a lady called Margot from the inn, and they get snuggle, read a story, and the
This is what
story.
this is another story from the book, and
Mhm,
that keeps happening, like foretelling things that are happening. So this one says that a woman sits on top of a brown horse, and she's got her cheeks are inked with four pointed stars,
mhm.
and she's surrounded by sand and dunes, and you're kind of a bit like, okay, what? Like, and she just smiles on her face, and she's finally free. You're a bit like, okay, what is this? This warrior? Is this the one that Brother Scorn intended her to find? So we don't know like what that is. But again, this is something like it seems to be all the things that are in this book are foretelling something for them.
Yeah, and the reason we know it is that it feels like as Odessa is reading these stories, they become real somehow,
Yeah.
or they become present for her in her journey. Because after she's read that story, a man who approaches her says, "My wife, who runs the inn, Margaret, I'm her husband, and my name's Shrieker," which I had to
Yeah.
say was like Strider, but it's not. It's Shrieker. And he has a scar. He has three large scars marring his face and a black patch covering his missing eye. And he's got the coat, which is the fabric of the alligasters, which is
Yeah.
essentially the story
For
we
sure.
heard previously. So this guy's
Yeah.
real.
He's real, and that's she's just read about him, and now they've met him, and then
So
he
your
just goes,
response would be, "Hold on a second, you're in a book I just read, and here you are." Nah, she don't bother saying that. She
"Who
doesn't say
did you
that.
meet before? How did you come in the story? Who did you tell? Like, I want to know why you're in the story." But he just says, "Wells tells me you're going to Quintus. You'll need a guide through the bogs. We'll leave at first light." And she says, "Thank you," and that's it.
Who are
No other
you? Are
questions.
you a rapist? What's the deal? All these questions.
What payment do you want?
How can I trust you? No, I'll just say thank you and accept the guide. I mean, fair enough, she doesn't have many choices, but for the love of God, ask the damn questions.
Yeah, that's a good question. What's going on? Like, how do you know? Maybe about the Allagast, like, I knew you did this. Do you know, like, did you tell the
Yeah,
story
and
to
so
someone else?
there's even a moment where she turns and she goes, wait here, Evie," and she runs up to Shrieker, and you think she's gonna speak to him privately. Totally fine. And then she's like, excuse me? And he's like, yeah, I'm just searching for a warrior, a woman. And then he's like, the only warriors around here are the Marvins. I don't know if there are any women though. And she's like, what the hell's a Marvin? And he's like, mercenaries. And they're almost as famous as the Guardian. Have you heard of him? She's like,
Ah,
once or twice. So, okay, new information, but you still didn't ask this guy, why the hell should I trust you for my guide?
yeah, that's a bit sus, and so you're like, "Okay."
Stranger
You're just going
danger
on with
is
it.
clearly not a thing in these books, okay?
She doesn't have stranger danger, she's just going along, and she's had a lot of danger, and there's gonna be more danger.
She's learned nothing. She's learned nothing. I
She's
know.
got nothing
No.
now. But yeah, we go
Chapter
back to
15.
Caspia,
Yes.
and it's, like it's weird because like, she's having a dream, and it's, like it's
Right,
really
this
weird,
one
isn't it?
freaked me out. This one freaked
Yeah,
me out because I was like, "What do you mean?" So she's having another vision in her dream, and it's
yeah,
another woman with the same kind of wild orange, red, copper, caramel curls that Odessa has, and I'm sure she has as well. The
yeah,
same hair as hers, and she says her feet are bare, her clothes are tattered. She's on like a stone floor. It looks like she's in some kind of, because she says iron bar, so she's in a jail cell somewhere.
yeah, it's
And
really we don't know who it is. Is it
then there's a
Odessa?
guy in the cell next to her, and he's got no tongue, and
No, so you
he's
can't talk.
skinny and thin, and also the girl with the red hair is there, and she's pregnant,
So
like
she
a
can't
child is growing in her womb, sorry.
so she can't
And
shift.
then
Yeah,
no, and she says, and she sits in the dark praying, praying for death until the enemy drags her off the stone for another experiment.
yeah.
And they slice open her wrist to steal the gifted blood in her veins, and she doesn't even bother to fight. And I'm like, wait a minute,
Is
who
this
is the man that's got no tongue and is skinny, and who is is it Odessa, and she's pregnant with the Guardian's kid? And she's being tested on in Alisaria as some magical weapon of some shit, like
yeah,
by King Ramsay and the Voster, like the high priest.
maybe.
Is this what's gonna happen? I'm like, "What?"
Don't know. Yeah, there's something weird like that. Because yeah, Caspia doesn't recognize her, and the only person she doesn't know with red hair is Odessa.
So it has to be Odessa. It has to be Odessa because Emery's dead. She already knows
Yeah.
Xandra. She's out there Barry Wolf style. And so I don't know. So I was like,
Yeah,
"Shit, this ain't gonna
it's
go well."
yeah, so she wakes up and she's realizes it's a dream, or obviously not a dream. And she's in a bed and she's like, "What the hell? I jumped off a ravine and now I'm in a bed. What's going on?" And she's changed and dry and a bit bruised, but
Yeah,
okay. And she
her ankle's messed up, isn't it? And that's why she's struggling to walk.
Yeah, so she gets out of the bed, walks around, and then she finds this empty cabin, like for one, and she manages to get out. And but then the door starts rattle, and this man kind of comes in and is just a bit like when he's like, "I've saved you from the river," but she can't understand a word. He,
So I found that really interesting because I was like, "Oh my god, there's a language barrier." Of course, right. They don't speak the same language. And then it kinda gets found out that she's speaking the old language, which was something that Odessa asked Brother Skore to teach her. So, interesting. Um,
so yeah, he says she says it's a dialect he's speaking from Biza. It was
yeah,
familiar.
yeah, B-san, which is the whole thing they don't like them because they're like, "Oh, they're trying to kill us." So
Mm,
whoever's in that other place, B-san, and her country, they don't get on, but he
yeah,
seems to be similar. So, okay, there's something, but he says, "Stop." He blinked, mouth snapping closed, then he lowered his hands and studied, eyes narrowing, and he cocked his head and to the side and said, "Stelvi." And she's like,
yeah,
"Stop," which meant stop. It wasn't Nelphonex, not exactly. It was more closely aligned to the dialect of Bisan, but she already
yeah.
speaks that language. But it was familiar, so something they found him out. So it's not quite Calendar, but it's not quite her. So it's a dialect of the old language.
Yeah. So yeah, they get through it. So we find out his name is Andreas, and she
Yeah,
tells him that he's like there, and he's
and like
actually it's
all
like
romanticy, he's fit.
yeah, he's fit and he's got blonde hair, and
Yeah.
he comes in, and he's like, "Hey, I saved you. Oh, I didn't take anything. Here's all your stuff." And all this kind of like, I didn't steal anything.
Yes.
And she's like, "Oh, okay, right." And he makes her food and she eats it, and he's just there, and he lets her sleep in the bed, and he sleeps in a chair, and you're like,
Sounds like a solid
okay.
guy, but
Yeah.
the good thing that we need to know is that she still got the necklace, which she's very happy about. So she still got the necklace, and she also has the cuffs that are sacred to her. Was it the Alpha? I forget what you called them,
The alpha
but she
drug,
still has
the
Elf
rings, yeah.
Alpha rings or
Alpha,
something.
the Alpha rings, like,
Yes.
so she's got those. So yeah, so she can't feel the call of the ritus. It's like it's faded now as well. So it the thrum kind of just kept getting fading and fading away, and now she hardly feels it, and she doesn't know what to
Yeah.
do. But
Yeah.
we do end on this where she goes, "What is this continent?" And he says, "Calandra." So we know she has made it to Calandra.
Finally, she knows she's in Calandra. We still don't know where in Calandra, but she in Calandra for sure.
Mm. Yeah. So at least we've got that much.
That's true. So we enter into chapter 16 back to Odessa, and the Shrieker guy is guiding them
Through the
to
bog.
where he can take them to Quintus, but it goes through the bog, which is interesting because we know that's where Luella used to go for her supplies until she got ripped in
Oh,
half by
cave
a crux.
ginger. The cave ginger is bright green, which is sort of from the Lysa, and yeah, something around there, but it also stinks. It's really bad over there. And that's where all the
Yeah,
alligators live. And
that's
they,
right.
and he says, like, yeah, did you have cave ginger? Once you smell this, you'll never have it again.
Ugh, yeah,
Yeah.
and Evie's like, "It stinks, and I'll never get used to the smell." He's like, "Oh, you'll get used to it," and she's like, "I don't think so." So he seems to have done this quite a few times, no issues, and I mean, basically, they're just walking through. She finds out a little bit more about Stryker, that he
He used to be a
used to
farmer,
farm. Yeah, he used to farm,
and
that's
that's
right.
why he had that incident with the Allagast, and now he doesn't do that anymore
Was.
because of that. But they don't mess with him because he's got their hind on him, so
That's
that's why he
right.
can go through the bogs. But they're going through, and like, so like Evie says to her, "Where's Luella? Is she in the shades with Papa?" And like she goes, "Yes, my love." Like, do you think this is the best time to tell her? Like, well, she
Yeah,
doesn't know
I
it's
have to say it was a little bit insane that she said, "Is she in the shades with Papa?" So maybe she had an idea, but, like, she's probably just wanting confirmation. She's like, "Yes, my love," and then her eyes fill with tears, she whispers, "And Rance?" She's like, "No, he is not in the shades." And she's like,
yeah.
"We're going to find him." And I'm just like, "Hold on a second. This is the girl that was fucking traumatized
She is
when
traumatized,
she find Papa. Like, took
still
days
traumatized,
and
probably.
weeks. And you're just like off of the bog, like, "Yeah, yeah, she dead, by the way, she dead." And I just felt like that was a very sort of offhanded thing of just like, now Evie knows that Luella's dead, let's move on. And I just like, yeah, but
I
as
know.
a character, that doesn't seem like the way she would respond to it. And I
Yeah,
suppose in a way, Devney's sort of saying, well, she's already overcome so much trauma that she now knows how to deal with it. And I'm like, well, she's a 4, 6-year-old. I don't think so.
yeah. It's just a bit, yeah. And she even says as well, she was this where she tells her that like you're not. She was going to find him, and she spoke the name long enough to know that Xavier, she wasn't supposed to tell anybody, and she keeps too many secrets, and yeah, it was just like really kind of harsh and all this kind of thing. You're just like, this isn't the right time to
I
talk
don't
about
think it
this.
was the right time, and it was kinda like a one sentence, like, "Oh, and that's it, move on." And I was like,
Yeah,
"Mm,
she has
yeah."
to keep a crossbow on her, and Evie's holding the crossbow things, and they walk past and all of them are the path seems to be against a fence to stop them, but they're really slow, the Allagast, so they're not stealthy, so it will protect them. But
Yeah, and
they
then
just be
and
on
then
the
as
alert.
soon as they say that, they hear the grass rustle and they see it move, and essentially shit gets crazy from that point.
Because obviously they're attracted to her then. But yeah, it all starts with like Faye's like growls and she says, "What's wrong?" And then all of a sudden a lime green flashed out the corner of my eye with a loud thwack against the fence. And then Stryker says, "Ride." So they run, but her feet weren't in the stirrups and she kind of she roars and she 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 goes
Trying to
like,
whip
"What is
back
this?"
herself back onto the horse, but it's just,
Yeah.
like,
So
going
she drops
so
Faye's. She drops Faye's. Because she tries to hold on to her for her, and she tries to hold on to Evie, and she drops Faze in the process.
And Faye's gonna get gobbled up by that Alligaster, especially when he's fast like that. But anyway, she turns the horsey around, who Freya does not want to go that direction. Freya the
Yeah,
horse is like, "No!" But anyway, she's got the Alligaster. She's going there, and she's got the arrow pointed at the Alligaster to get the crossbow in its eye or something. But then all of a sudden, something whoosh past her super quick, and it's a bunch of other soldier
warriors.
type
Yeah,
people, warriors, and the one's got like an axe straight in its head,
yeah,
and the blood
opens it in two.
is
Yeah,
green, and you now go,
and that's got Lytha. And she says that who was doing that was a woman with hair as pale as snow, knelt on the beast's twitching corpse. And it's the lady that we had the story about who's got
the one
the
with the stars
stars
on her
on
tattooed on
her
her face.
on her
Yeah.
cheekbone, and you're like, right, okay. But she's the only woman in the kind of group, and they're all clad in the same leather and metal armor.
Mhm.
And yeah, so we know that there's a whole big like group of like mercenaries around them that have
And
just
it's
saved her life against the
interesting,
Alagus.
he's like, another one. So they've been hunting Lysa as well. And it's like, God, it stinks. That's 3 with green blood in many months. And she's like, shit, it's spreading super fast. We are so screwed. But then she stands up and she's like, who are you? And Stryker comes in like really quick, like, are you okay? Yeah, yeah. Okay, Phase is fine and everything. But the
Yeah.
one thing one of the guys does, who's one of the part of the warriors, he picks up Phase by the like literally the neck and is just like,
Uh-huh.
all right, let's kill this one. And she's like, you
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah, she grabs him back and he just seems a bit of a dick, this guy. Is it
He's a
George?
total dick. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then, because she says, like, who are you? And he's like, oh, she doesn't know who we are, Thora. So guess the woman's called Thora. And she doesn't care. She just walks off. Like, Thora not talk to anybody. And he says, me, my lady, are the Marvins. So again, that's
The
Stryker,
mercenaries essentially of Ozarth,
what
which is,
Stryker said to them. That's the only ones I can think of.
so we
And
kind of
yeah,
know their names now. One's called Jodhi
that's the
Matthias.
mean one with with the face. His name is Jodri.
I thought it was Matthias because he
No,
says, "Want
Matthias
this,
is
Jodhi?" He
he's
says,
nice.
"Thanks, Matthias." Ah, yeah, that's right, Jodhi. He's like, "Did you fire this?" And she goes, "Yes." And he's like, "Nice try, doll." And you're like, "Wow, he's a total dick." Yeah, yeah.
He is at all. It's weird. You don't think you're supposed to like him, but yeah, he's no nice. But yeah, it's all kicked off again. So all these monsters are still after Odessa.
Mm.
But she seems to, I don't know what the next story is, but I'm guessing the next story is something to do with, yeah, who they're going to meet next.
Well, I feel like considering we know that she is the warrior person from the book, that's the warrior that the Foster said you need to go and find that warrior. This is,
Mhm.
what's her name, Thora. This is them. So she needs to stick with this person in it. But we haven't really heard much for Thora. She sort of looks at her and then just goes and then moves away and doesn't really say much else. So
Yeah.
so before we get back to them, we enter chapter 17 back to Caspia's perspective, and Cassia is having another vision or something again?
Yeah. So, yeah, she says there's a woman with brown curls, and it's the bit where this is from Shields of Sparrow.
This is from Shields of Barrow, yeah.
This is where Odessa is on the boat going to Chura for the first time, and she doesn't know how to wield a sword, but she asks Savior and Rance for a sword, and she can't lift it, and he just kind of is being a bit
Yeah, she's,
sarcastic.
like, struggling to hold it because her arm's not got enough muscle because it's such a weighty sword, and he's like, "Go on, hold it above like that," and then
Mhm.
he flicks it up, and then he catches it, and his eyes flash emerald because she only knows of someone with silver eyes, so she doesn't think that's the dude, and then but she also sees her with brown hair because this is when she used to dye her hair brown, so she's not known.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So she now thinks there's 2 different people, a girl with brown hair and a guy with green eyes, whereas it's the same people.
Yeah, but it does end that when she goes away, Odessa leaves, that she says the eyes change to silver. So at the end, she does know that that's the silver-eyed guy. Mm.
So,
But she
yeah, you're
doesn't know that
right.
that's Odessa. She just thinks it's a brown-haired girl. And
That's
she's
right,
like,
but
"What's
now
going
she'll
on?"
know that his eyes change color, so she's now going,
Yeah,
"Okay, good to know, more intel."
yeah,
But yeah, she's still in the cabin with recovering, and she's been reading some of Andreas's books to kind of catch up
which are
on her
boring.
language skills, and they're very boring. And even Andreas is like, "I told you that book was dull," and she's like, "And you were right. When our eyes met, the corner of his mouth turned up before he returned to his sketch." So he's doing a little sketch of what?
Mhm. Probably
I
her.
don't know. Maybe her sitting reading or something. Oh,
Yeah, but she does tell her, like, what happened. So after the whole thing with Xandra turning into a barrier wolf and her jumping off, he found her in the Coroness River and he rescued her from the riverbanks, and then she had a whole time where she had a fever and was on the brink of death, and he
mhm.
like got her to drink broth and healed her, and so she's been there for a while. And also we learned that she's in Genesis, so we're
Yes.
like,
So
finally.
finally, we now know where she has come from. So if you look on the Calandra map, and like I said, it's described as like a backwards sea. So the top north point is Chura, and the bottom south point is Quentis. So next to Quentis on the right is Genesis. So they must have traveled from
In
Kent
the forest. Yeah.
from the south underneath Calandra. So if we are looking at the map, you keep going south. Keep going south is where Ken is. So
Mm.
that's where they've come from. But we can see that Coronus is on the northwest of
Yeah, see the
Genesis.
forest.
So if she keeps going west, she'll hit some mountains called the El Ruz Mountains, which then connect very quickly to Quentis by water. But to be honest, she can also take it by land, so it doesn't really matter.
So yeah, but she doesn't know that. She doesn't no idea where she is, and she doesn't know what she's looking for. It's just a silver-eyed guy, and also
Yeah,
to find her cousin. But
correct.
yeah, so she's just well, she finds all that out, and then she has a moment with Andreas, and obviously, yes, he's
Mm.
drawn her in his
He was a good man. He was a good
a
man.
coach man. Yes, and she actually feels better as well now as well. So she said after she's been recovering, her vision was crisper, so clear I could make out the veins on a leaf 10 paces away,
Oh,
and I could hear Andreas's footsteps on the road well after he'd disappeared. So she's got superpowers and stuff.
well, I think she's still turning. She's in the Rites, but I think because she wants to be a crux or whatever they called them in Ken, that it's just going to take longer for her because a crux is humongous in comparison to Barry Wolf. So I think she's now all her senses are heightened. So it's like happening slowly. But
Yeah,
then maybe you're right. Maybe that's not just the crux. Maybe that's part of her whole premonitions and visions and she can just see things. So I'm not sure, but that's a good point. But anyway, she sees the sketchbook that he's been drawing a little bit, which is of her. There
yeah.
seems to be a little bit of a flirtation attraction.
Yes.
Like, as much as
Yes.
I wanted to give him into this attraction, to let the tension snap, if I surrendered now, there was no way to leave. So she's like, I've got to focus on what I need to do. So I'm not going to start getting involved with this guy, even if he is very sexy and I feel a lot of attraction to him. So she says, I have to leave. And he's like,
Yeah.
no. But he says it in her language, well, B-San language.
Yeah.
And it's quite sweet. And she's like, I gotta find my cousin. He's like, it's too dangerous. And she's like, it's fine. I'm strong enough to leave now. And anyway, so you're no match for a monster. Now, this is interesting because the first time she then underlines that going monster. We didn't have that word in Nelphonex, nor did we have a word for
Yeah.
the black beast that Xandra had become. So now she knows that those beasts are called Barry wolves because she had no name for them before. But also she's aware that people call them monsters, which is probably not the best response for her because she's like, "What? What? We don't call them that. What are you talking about?"
Yeah, it's a bit weird. Like they've got different ways to do like things. So
Mhm.
yeah, she says she's off to find Xandra, and and then afterwards she's going to go and kill this man with the silver eyes.
Yes.
And he's like, I've never seen a person like with silver eyes. But he tells him about the
That's
starburst in the
right.
eyes. So she
Yes.
finds out that amber is for Quintus, green is Hatura, magenta is Larn, and blue is Ozarth. And in Genesis, it's persimmon. So, yeah. But
What
he's
color
got,
is persimmon, by the way, again? I can't
like
quite remember.
orange. It's a
Oh,
fruit.
I thought so. I was like, persimmon.
But he's from Quintus, so he's got amber eyes. Yeah.
I think I'd rather be from Lane or Ozarth. I want
Magenta.
those eyes. Yeah, magenta or the blue. Yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool.
But yeah. So she says, and he says, well, if you go, I'm going to probably just head back home to Quintus because that's where I need to go. And she's like, okay, then.
Mhm.
And they kind of have like one evening before she says goodbye. And that's it.
But there's nothing sexual. There's a point that she's like, maybe kiss me before I leave, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
He
There's
leaves he
feelings
leaves
there.
her. He leaves. He's like, I can't change your mind. No. And then yes, that happens. And where are you gonna go? Yes, Chura. Which I'm like, don't go to Chura. Go down first before you go to Chura.
Well, yeah, so she thinks that she's going to cheer because she sees, like, he talks about all the different places and what they're big on, and Shura's big on lumber, like, and wood. And she sees a wooden fortress, and she's like, well, that's where he'd be then, because I can see this wooden fortress, so I'm going to Chura to find the silver-eyed guy
Mm,
and kill him. So that's the only reason why she's going. She doesn't even
yeah,
know where
that's
the fortress is.
yeah, that's true. And that's all the information she has really. So fair enough. Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. But yes, she was like, then by the time I'll travel all the way there, I have crossed most of Calandra, and if I still haven't found her, then I'll turn around and come back. Because she's also trying to find Xandra, but that's
Mhm.
changed because she wants to try and find her cousin again. But again, her mission is revenge for Emery's death. uh, which I'm kind of just like, don't you want a bit more information considering
Yeah,
this land
why?
is
What
very
did she do?
different to you? Why do you think she died?
This guy just came and jumped on top of her while she was like flying around. Like, what's going on?
Like, and also, but I feel like on her journey, she's going to start to realize, okay,
Something
monsters.
happened. Yeah.
Mhm. But yeah, she says she sort of tells them a slight white lie about the women have a tradition. We have a right. We leave home and we travel into the unknown to find a person we were meant to become. Into the unknown. But yeah, sorry. And he's like, okay, yeah, but he doesn't tell her, like, she obviously doesn't say, and then we transform into a giant beast. Yeah,
Yeah.
that doesn't
And
happen.
then
So,
ta-da!
but essentially, this chapter ends with them having a little goodbye moment, and they hope that their paths will cross again. And so he lifts a hand like he would reach for her, but before his fingers could brush against her, he backs away. And then he walks outside with the door closed, and that was it. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Emotional scarro.
Yeah, well, it just seems like, well, they didn't have that long a love to make it meh. So, all right, get on with it, Caspia. I'm
Well,
like,
I
yeah,
think
go
she
on.
knows. She's like, if I have to get on with my stuff, I can't sit here in this cozy little cabin all
Got
the
mission.
time. Got a
Yeah,
mission. I've got to get
she
on
got
with it. As
mission
much as
too.
this is sweet, I've got to be getting on.
Yeah. So we go back to Odessa in the next chapter, and
Ah, yes,
she's
the
now joined
Marvins.
the Marvins, is it?
Yeah, the mercenary troop.
Mercenary. Yeah, and we find out that it got a lot worse. She was like, today was unusual. 9 months it had tried to break through the bars on today's ride. Thankfully, only the one had made it through. Still, it had been a harrowing day, and they were said that there was attacks on the fence were unusual. Then it had to be my fault. But yeah, we
Yeah.
understand that. Like,
But it's just we don't know why they're attracted to her. Like, what is it that she has that they're like, bam, 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 bam. I don't know. Because it's not clear. Anyway, so she's there and she is kind of like she's talking to Shrieker, doesn't she, for a bit? But essentially he's gonna bugger off. He's like, I've guided you to this
yeah, to the
area.
it's like a camp. So on the other side of the bog, there's a camp, and the Marvins are staying there. And Stryker's kind of got them settled, and is like, right, okay, I've got you here. I'm off. Like,
That's right.
he's like, I have to go back to my family, and she's like, right, okay,
But
and
he's not waiting
yeah,
to like go in the morning. He's like leaving in the middle of the night. And she's like,
yeah,
you're gonna go through the bog, but then he's like, "Yeah, they don't bother me because obviously he's got the hide thing on, right? So they don't care." He
yeah,
said, "They tendency to leave me alone," and she's like, Shrieker, sorry, you should leave the riverside and take shelter soon for the migration." And he's like, "What are you talking about? It's not time yet." And she's like, obviously explains about the Chura incident, and he's like,
um,
okay, fine. Goodbye, Odessa. And she's like, thanks for everything. Bye. And that's it, basically. And so now she's got to figure out a way to get from there to Quintus. But she's like, if Shrieker was right about the Marvins, maybe they could deliver Evie and me safely to Quintus. But bitch, you ain't got no money. You got no
yeah. You got
money. These are
nothing.
mercenaries that work for Kaching. You got
Yeah,
no Kaching.
yeah. So she waits till like, Eva goes to sleep, and then she just rocks up to their tent and says, "Hi, we need to go to Quintus. I'll pay you to take us." And like, I had to like underline this thing here because she's like, and because one of them was like, I don't think you can afford us, and she's like, 1,000 zillias each, and I'm like, dude, this isn't your money. This isn't your money. This is your dad's money that you're hoping your dad will give you. You don't know if your dad will
Yeah,
give you
he
this
might
money.
still be pissed at you because you didn't complete your task.
Yeah, so they don't know. Like, so she's just going, yeah, my dad, I'll just take my dad's money. You're like, how do you know
What's
your dad?
hilarious, I have to say, I do like the character Jody because he's like, "Look lively, boys, we got a visitor." Like, I could just see
You're
it,
like
like,
a
I could just
cowboy.
see this
Like,
character.
hey, a little later. Like, and you're just like,
"What can
what
we
the
do
heck?
for you, little doll?" And she's like,
Yeah. And so she's giving them like 1,000 zillions each, and they're like,
"We travel
okay.
wherever the coin takes us."
Yeah. And you've got 12,000 zillions in those saddlebags? And she's like, no, I'll arrive when we get to Roslo. And yeah. So they decide, like, okay, who are you? And she says, my name's Odessa. And we've got packets to fill before the migration. What? And then it's only because Thora says stop,
Dude,
and
that's because
she says,
she mumbles under her breath. Well, no, shit. No, okay, this is
yeah,
interesting because she says that she thought it in her head, but
yeah.
then she was like, "Oh shit, did I mumble that out loud?" I don't think she did. I think Thora can read people's minds.
Or maybe she's. No, this has happened before to Odessa. She says something, and then someone says whatever, and she goes, "Crap, I said it out loud." I think she can speak to someone in their mind, but
Uh,
sometimes
like
she
she can
says,
transmit it or something to somebody
yeah,
savvy.
yeah.
Mm.
I feel like this is something Odessa does, and she doesn't realize she's doing it. And but Yeah. She says, "Yeah, you won't have to wait so long." Thora's like, "What's that?" And then she has to have a talk, doesn't she, about what happened in Chura, but doesn't tell
Yeah,
her that much.
that's right. She's like, yeah, because she's like, we've got pockets to fill for the migration. She's like, well, you won't have to wait for long. Stop. What did you say? She's like, oh shit. And then it's like Jodie's like, have a seat, doll. That's what
Yeah,
I'm giving Jodie. This is my thing. I think that's how he sounds. Your name could be Queen Cassin and it wouldn't matter. We don't do anything for free and we don't do anything unless we get paid first. Anyway, so she sits down with the Marvins and says, and has a little seat. And they're
yeah.
sort of talking. She explains what happened in Elder about the crux, and
But they don't believe her.
now I'm understanding it's got nothing to do with the crux migration. It's got to do with an isolated event. Emery could turn into a crux, and she obviously targeted them. So it's got nothing
Yeah,
to do with the
for some
crux
reason.
migration, but they don't know that, which is fine.
But yeah, so they don't know, but they don't believe her. They're kind of a bit like, there would be a scout. We haven't heard anything about this. And they're like, well, it's what happened. And so like,
But
she's
one
like,
of the
why wouldn't
men
I lie about
freaks
this?
out. Yeah, doesn't one of the guys freak out? Freaks
Oh,
out.
one of them freaks out and gets on a horse and says, I have to go tell my family. And they're like, okay, just let him be.
Yeah, Mose.
Yeah, but then there's this talk of this guy called Salem. And they said Salem would have sent word. Like, I didn't, and she was like, who is Salem?
Is
And
that like
stuff
their
like that.
pimp or something?
Yeah, I think it is like something like I was like, who the hell's Salem? Salem would know, but yeah, they don't really believe her. And it's only because Thora says stop that she kind of looks at Evie and she's just like, right, okay, we'll take you to Quintus. But
Yeah,
she knows something as well. She knows like that she's royalty, doesn't she?
yeah, she's aware of who she is. But it's interesting that I do love how fucking Turins and their fucking secrets, and I'm like, so there is like a mentality of Turins being, only true to their people and don't like any outsiders. So that is
Yeah.
a big thing. So, but it's so funny because she's like, I shot him a glare. Maybe Jodie was right about the Turins and the Saxons, but in this, I couldn't believe King Ramsay wouldn't send word to the other kingdoms. I bloody could.
Yeah, he's
Don't
just like,
he
well,
doesn't give a shit.
no, he just
Um,
can't like I think he
why
thinks too
would
much
he
of
care?
things.
Why would he care? His
No.
number one thing is for Chura. If Chura is
Yeah.
okay, he's good.
Yeah.
Anyone
Yeah.
else, who cares?
She
So
has too much. She's like thinking on like, oh, my dad will do this for me, and the king will do that. And I'm like, no, you're on
no
your
one
own.
gives
Like,
a shit.
nobody's. Don't
No.
trust them. Don't trust
I know.
them.
I love how like jaded we are. We're like, don't trust no one. Don't
Don't
believe
trust them.
shit.
You're on your own, girl. Like, no, don't trust these.
Wake up and smell the frickin' hummus, girl. Anyway,
She ends up
they're
traveling with
trying to
Marvin.
clarify this, don't they? But essentially, after the whole Salem conversation, which we don't know who this guy is, but anyway, Thora is I don't know, it's weird because Thora's like arches her eyebrow and like, should I do it?
No,
Should I
they
not
don't
do it?
believe her. She does say to her like, "We'll take you now," and to Quintus, but she asks her name. She just says Odessa Wolf. And she's like, right, okay. So
I
I
think
think,
she knows she's the Sparrow. I think she knows she's the Sparrow
you know,
because she knows she's a princess and she knows she's the Sparrow. But yeah, so she can use her as leverage if needed be.
yeah, she knows that, like, so she's like, okay. And so she's traveling with the Marvins.
So she's made an agreement of 1,000 Zillas and we got a deal. Because obviously, how else she gonna get to Quintus? There's
Yeah,
there's something else. And obviously, I think that little journey, is gonna be freaking mental with the marrow eels. I don't know.
yeah. Well, they're not, they're going through land,
Oh, they
but
are?
yeah, they're going through the land. So they're in
I thought they were going by boat. Okay, so if that's the case, then they're gonna
a long journey.
pass. They're gonna pass Caspia. Because if Caspia is going up to
Yeah,
Chura, they're going down from Ozarth to Quintus. So maybe they meet in Lane, which is the
There, where,
in-between country between Ozarth and Genesis.
maybe. But yeah,
Hey.
so that's where so they're traveling now. And then the last chapter, chapter 19, we go back to Caspia, and
Yes. Things don't go
she's
so well for Caspia, does it?
yeah, she leaves the cabin. She doesn't see Andreas. She's just like, goodbye. I'm going to walk down here and like, yeah, start my journey. She's got her pack and her cape and all that kind of stuff. And she bumps into a, oh, what do you call that
A
animal? It's a
fennec.
fennec.
Yeah,
Fennec.
a
Yeah.
fennec, that's what I call it, fennecs, because she's like, "What the hell is that?" And then she turns and she goes, "Oh, hello, pet." And
Yeah,
she's like,
she has
"Come
a pet
here,"
fennec at
cooing at
home.
it.
She has a pet fennec at home, doesn't she? So she's like, oh yeah, I know these animals. But it's not happy. It's angry at her and
She don't
just
understand.
growls.
She ain't in she's not in Ken anymore. This is Calandra, and these guys hate anybody that's a human, essentially. So the
Yeah.
Fennec is she's like, I don't understand. Nelphenix was sweet, gentle creatures, our most beloved pets. This animal seemed interested in a scratch behind its fur, like behind its ears, and all I
Mhm.
saw was predatory hunger and primal rage. And she's like, "I'm not gonna hurt you," and she even vows it. So I don't know
Yeah.
what happens when you break a vow, but anyway, it's not the case here.
Yeah. But it just
So this thing
jumps at her.
yeah, it leaps and comes for her, and she sort of manages to dodge out of its way, and it's not
Yeah.
working. She's getting upset. She's getting really upset because now she's in mortal danger. Because if she doesn't fight back, it's gonna kill her.
Yeah. So she's like, I don't know why. She's not even like done anything to it. It just is attracted to killing her. So she's like, okay. And I think she moves out of the way. It like hits itself on a tree or something. And then it gets back up and it starts running after her. And so
Mhm.
she's just like, oh God. So she just runs off and it gets tangled in her cape. And she manages to get it through that way. And then Andreas
Mhm.
comes through the forest, doesn't he, with his crossbow in hand. And he
Yeah, it's
manages,
like
like,
proper Boromir style, like coming through the forest, like Caspia comes with the bow and arrow, shoots it because she's about to get mauled to death, basically. And yeah, it goes straight in, and the blood is yeah.
yeah.
She says a fennec was good fortune. Its blood should not be soaking the earth. She
But it's
doesn't
not
say
going,
the blood is green though. Which is actually good because we're thinking it's got Lysa, it's messed up, but actually that's just how they operate. That's just how monsters operate in this
yeah.
world. So
And so, yeah, she just says, like, she's upset about it. And she's like, and he's just like, no, they're monsters. You need to like get away. She's like, no, they're really nice here, and I ruined my clothes. She's just having a bit of a whinge moment, and he says, you know what? Come on, there's a village along the road ahead. It'll be a good place. We'll make it before nightfall. And then she goes, what? You're coming with me? And he says, yeah, whatever.
basically, I think he's gone, "Ah, screw it." I mean, let's be honest, he's probably never found a woman. He keeps going to this mountain,
To get
a
away from
cabin to
something.
get away from life, and then a sexy, very differently like looking woman appears at his doorstep, not speaking the same language as him. He's like, you know what? Shove it. Let's go on a journey together. Screw it.
Yeah,
And so essentially he's like, right, you said you're the women in your family have a tradition, a right, you'll leave home to discover who you are. Well, I'm rather fond of the woman you are now. And
oh,
I think I'd rather fond of the woman you're gonna go become. And I'm like, God, this guy is so sweet. But he kisses her. And you're like,
yeah.
uh-oh.
So they're all like, "Oh, we're in love now," and then they go off on their little journey, and she's like, "Yeah, together we set off to explore Calandra," and that's how it ends.
But I
That
have to
they're
say, if
together
that
for a
was the
journey
easiest way to just meet guys, just fall into a cabin, hopefully
onto
he's
a
not a
ravine.
psychopath, boom. Yeah, fall into a ravine and you will be saved. It's a
Yeah, and
risky
then just
shit
make
thing to
eyes.
do, but it could happen. So yeah,
Yeah.
so we end our episode there, and we're gonna continue next week reading from chapter 20 to where, Linda?
chapter 20 to 30.
To
But I
30.
hope it gets a bit more interesting because I did find this part a bit like, meh, I don't know. This is again like the whole traveling thing, and I'm waiting for us to get some answer here. Like, why can someone give us an answer about will she, why she got these magical powers, Odessa? What's going on with her mother? Caspia, why is she not turning into a bird?
It
What's
would be,
going on?
yeah, it would be nice to know. Well, the thing is with the Caspia side of the story, I'm kind of all right with it. I'm like, it's progressing. We are finding out more detail. She's now discovering the monsters are different than what she understands. It now has, and I think it's good that we have Andreas on this journey because he'll be
Yeah,
like, no, that's completely normal. And she'll be like, what? No, in my kingdom, it's this way. And then he's going to be like, well, that's absolutely not how it is. So that's going to help the whole process. Not sure. I can see the Xandra thing being an issue because they're all looking for a one-eyed Barry Wolf. So unless he's currently the alpha, this one-eyed Barry Wolf. So unless she starts coming in like, bitches, I'm the bitch now, Barry Wolf,
yeah,
what's happening. And obviously they have Lysa. If she gets bit by one of them, she's gonna turn into a Lysa Barry Wolf. So that's the question. Did Emery get bit by another animal and then she became a Lysa Crux and had no control? I
right.
don't know. But Odessa's side of it is just really freaking slow, and she's kind of annoying me with the fact that she's not asking enough questions. And I understand that there are certain things she can't know, but it's like if you're reading a book and everything you're reading then becomes a thing in front of you,
Mhm.
why aren't you going, isn't that weird? Even Evie is getting read these stories. She'd be like, holy shit, that's the person.
Yeah, oh, it happens, isn't it? You read the story and then it happens. It must mean something. Why does it mean something? What's the journal? What is going on with the journal? I don't know.
No,
Nobody's
this is
explained
the
that either.
problem with Odessa. She's like, oh, that's really like interesting, but I don't have time to think of that because of another thing that's not important. Like, oh, I have to protect Evie. Pitch Evie doing fine. Evie's doing amazing. Evie even found out the shit with Brother Skore about that melon thing that he had. Like
Yeah.
relax. Okay?
Um,
She's basically using it as a scapegoat, like, oh, I don't have time to find out answers about me. I have to protect everyone else. And I know that's kind of how she's been raised, like not to give a shit about herself, and she's got like lack of confidence and stuff. But what I thought we'd kind of progressed from that in Shields of Sparrow when she was with Ransom. I don't understand what's going on now. Like, why aren't you asking more questions? Why are you just going, okay, this is what we'll do?
yeah, it's a bit weird, and I hope in the next part I get an answer to something.
I need
Something. I
an
just want
answer.
one
Again,
answer. Just
now
one
a lot
answer.
and a lot of people are, I mean, we're at page 197. Okay. So the next part, Bear gives some chunky damn answers, is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
I need to know
Because
some answers.
I can't have, I'm very much a person that when I read romance or any book, right, I need you to give me something.
Yeah,
Something. And I really liked Odessa and Shield Sparrow, but at this point, I'm starting not to like her. I don't dislike her. I'm starting the process of Odessa, you better buck up because you're
yeah,
starting to get on my tip right now. Caspia, thank God for her as a character because she's very interesting and I'm warming to her already. So I'm just very frustrated. I'm not getting answers, and I don't expect to get everything, but I expect to be like, ooh, that could mean this. Possibly. Let's
yeah.
look. At the moment, I'm like, there's so many questions, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
What's going on? What's happening? Yeah, it's exactly like that. And I'm like, so yeah,
Yeah.
we'll wait and see what happens.
Well, that's our opinions. What are your opinions on the story so far? And perhaps you've already read the story, and so you're like, ha. I don't know. Maybe you think our points are valid or not valid. Please share in the comments. We're also on social media at Literary Labyrinth Podcast on Instagram and TikTok, and we're on YouTube. And you can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts from.
Yeah.
And so, but yes, without further ado, we're going to get reading and we'll be back here next week and discussing, as we said, chapters 20 to 30.
Yay! Okay, so yeah, we better get reading. I hope something happens.
I really hope so. Please, for the love of God. All right, in the meantime, we'll see you there, and thanks for joining us. Bye.
See you later. Bye!